Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Open Mic for Women, Open Mic Foundation. Thank you so much for coming through. Today we have Rudo. Welcome, Rudo, to Open Mic. Something for everyone to know. Rudo is a brand ambassador for Open Mic for Women. And she's joined Open Mic, Rudo, we'd say the past 4 months now?
Yeah, I think we started April.
Was it April? Yeah, I think it was April. So it's 3 months. It's 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's been really good working with Rudo. So thank you so much for joining us, Rudo, today. It is the end of June. I mean, we've had such a good month with the viewers, the people, the youth talks, the teachers talks. We had some amazing people that came through. So looking forward to your talk today, Rudo, and we have Jason coming on a little bit later as well. So Rudo, just to kick things off, I think introduce yourself to everyone. Tell them a little bit about who Rudo is, and then we'll go into the talk.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Rudo. I'm a vendor management specialist at a research company. I just finished my honors. And as Sesh has said, I am one of the brand ambassadors for the Open Mic Foundation. I'm 23. I'm living life. I'm exploring. I'm discovering. I'm learning. That is me currently.
Awesome, awesome. Rudo, thank you so much. We have Amina that's joined us. We have Simogile that's joined us. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate, everyone taking the time out and, tuning into Open Mic on a weekly basis. And thank you so much. Thank you, ladies, so much for coming through. So let's dive into it, Rudo. I think, hey?
I said, yeah, let's go. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So guys, I just want to make sure that everybody knows this, right? I mean, the stories that have been told onto the platform it's people's experiences, it's people's what they've been through, it's their story, right? We are not here to question someone's storytelling. We're here to understand and to acknowledge what people have been through or are going through. And it's through their view, these are the things that they've done, or these are the things that they've been through in terms of, going through the emotions, the stories that they've been going through, and listening to some of the stories that have surfaced, through the months of, Open Mic. There's some really, really real people that experience, some value out of all the challenges that they've gone through and have really made it through that. And I think your story today, Rulo, I think as we go along, I think, it's good to hear from a younger person what they go through and the challenges and how they face it as well. So let's dive through it. Welcome, ladies. Welcome everyone that's joined the talk. Thank you so much for taking the time out and just coming through. I do appreciate it. So Rudo, over to you, sweetie.
All right, so my story, I think, is one that a lot of people can relate to, and I wanted to speak on it in Youth Month because I think us as the youth, we can't deal with this type of topic. So I named it Don't Break Down, Break Up. And it's all about building yourself up from a situation that you really thought would affect you a lot in your life. So I started dating this guy when I was in grade 11. So we had our overall relationship lasted for like estimated 4 years. We started dating in grade 11. We ended things and we got back together. I think end of first year, beginning of second year, and we got together. And both times when we broke up, it was all due to cheating. I think at first, at that young age of being in grade 11, you always kind of think, oh, is it me? Am I not pretty enough? Am I not doing something enough? And this time when we broke up, it's a recent breakup. We broke up in November, but then again, I think I can say that sometimes you know that things have ended. It's just that you don't end them, you don't end them at that time. So throughout these 4 years, it's been challenging. I faced a lot of challenging things, but the most important thing is that I learned a lot. I learned a lot about relationships. I learned a lot about trust. Um, I learned a lot about my partner and letting somebody into my space. And I
Mm-hmm.
learned a lot about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Number one thing, I learned a lot about myself, my weaknesses, my strengths, and that's why I'm here today. I have 5 steps that I want to share with everybody. But before I go into that, just for you all to kind of understand a little bit more about how I came to these 5 steps. Um, Cheating is it for me. It did break my heart, because I mean, in a period of 4 years, you get to learn somebody, and you get so used to somebody, and because of the time spent and um, all the little things we used to do, when he decided to kind of go that route and have a double life and cheat, it really took a toll on me. And I'm not the type of person who knows how to deal with anger. I'm not the type of person who knows how to deal with quite negative emotions. And when that happened, when my heart broke, it was I was completely different. I was completely different, and I knew I was, but it shocked me once when somebody was like, "Rudo, where is the light? Where's your positivity? Where's the Rudo that we know?" And I was like,
So, so are you saying when you found out that he was cheating on you, it
mhm.
felt like he took away your light?
You know what? I think back then, because he was kind of like my best friend and somebody that I trusted, there
Mm-hmm.
was a part where I felt like he did take away my light, only because I was so hurt and felt so disrespected that because I didn't know how to deal with all of those emotions, I wasn't completely myself
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
But he didn't take away my foundation, my grounding, my morals, my what I stand for. I just wasn't myself because I was in such a dark space mentally that
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be the light that I knew myself to be and the light that I was to people, you
Okay,
know.
he clouded you. I mean, he hurt
Yeah,
you, right? So
yeah,
obviously, a lot of feelings and
yeah.
emotions, came out of that, and it was a cloud that was put over you. Okay, okay, I hear you.
And over these few months of healing and kind of reminding myself who I am, I came up with these 5 steps. Not even came up, I went through these 5 steps. Some of them I'm still going through, and I really wanted to share them today because I feel like us as a youth, especially with serious relationships like what I went through, like a 4-year relationship, we
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to say when. We don't know how to say this is it. We don't know how to say, you know what, I'm going to pick myself up from a relationship that I thought would last forever.
Okay. So, I mean, you're 23 years old
Yeah,
currently right now. Do
yeah,
you think a lot of women during your age go through this?
I do.
Really?
Yes. Ah,
Wow.
you know what, because I think, and it starts from a young age. I think when he first cheated, um it was okay, we're young, it's okay. And then when we started again, it was a thing of now we're older, now we're more matured. Hopefully now he understands where I'm at in life, and he knew how it affected us at first, so he wouldn't do it
Mm-hmm.
again.
Okay.
So I think as young women, we always have this thing of, oh, maybe I can teach him how to do this. We always, some women, not all, but we all, because we're nurturers, sometimes we believe that, oh, I can teach him how to love me. I can teach him how to
Mm.
respect me. At this age, we all want love. We all want to hashtag bay and hashtag big goals, and sometimes it's just not worth holding on to something that hurts you. And with my relationship, my previous relationship, we were that couple of, oh, Rudo and blah blah blah, Rudo and this are doing that. And we were very public with our relationship, and especially because it started in high school. Everybody from high school and everybody back home and our families knew that this relationship was very, very special to the both of us at that time. So
Okay.
when I had to walk away from it, it was walking away from something that I had to make clear to people that I'm doing this for my mental self and my completely for me, for myself.
Mm.
You know. So yeah, you know what, the healing process and the heartbreak, it's not that I'm thankful, but it really got me to where I am now. The Rudo that you would have met in November, it's completely different to me now. I wouldn't even be able to speak about this back then because I would have been bitter. I would have been very petty, very shady. And I went through these steps that I'm going to share. And
Okay.
I really want the viewers to, interact with me. Tell me what you think. And also, um, these steps are not to say it's in order. I will say, yeah, step one, step two, but these are not in order because our healing and how we bring ourselves up from hurt is completely different. You know what I
No,
mean?
absolutely. Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
So let's go for it.
All right. So the first thing that I had to do was to detox. And no, I'm not speaking about drinking green tea every morning to make myself feel better. No, no, none of that.
Okay.
I
Okay.
had to detox the the people and the pages that I would follow on social media. One thing that I did that was bad in my healing in my heartbreak was that I used to follow pages on Instagram about exes and cheating, and they would post things like, yeah, you know what, be petty anyway because they're gonna think you're crazy. A lot of things that I was feeding myself that back then I was like, yeah, these people really understand me. But they didn't help me. They didn't
No.
grow me. They only made things worse. And that's one thing. Detox. Detox.
Yeah. So you know when they say when you put fuel on the fire?
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was doing every time.
And those type of people, when you look at social media and how social media reflects the truth, is
Yes.
remember it's reflected
Yes.
on a one side perspective, right?
Yes.
It's never reflected on the other side.
Mm,
And it's very, you need to be very careful about social media. Social media is also an image about yourself. Being young, right? And here's my taking on social media. What you post doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what it's related to. It
mm.
has an impact on your life going forward. It is a reflection.
Massively.
It is a
Massively.
reflection. Yeah, but it's a reflection of who you are, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a big reflection from who you
Yeah.
are. It is not something to be taken lightly. It is not something for you to think, this post about this person is something that, it'll go away. No,
If I delete it, it doesn't mean nobody has a screenshot.
absolutely.
You know what
So
I mean? So,
young youths do need to be very, very cautious about
mm.
what you post on social media. The
And the
image
people.
that you portray out there is very important. Doesn't matter what it's about, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it's friendship, whether it's relationships. Must
Mm.
remember it's also about the perspective of one.
Yeah.
What perspective do you give to someone by looking at your post?
Mm.
Right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of people read into it. A lot of people, they'll think you're a negative person, they'll think you're a positive person, they'll think you're a free-spirited person, they think, oh, people do that, right?
Yes.
It may not be the truth, but people make the assumptions of it.
Yes. So that's why it's so important to detox. Like I had to detox. I had to delete certain pages. I had to block certain people because they weren't feeding me and I wasn't feeding them, And that's why I was like, it was so important. But the most important detox is detox from yourself. Your
Okay.
And I think it's not even about during a heartbreak. I think in life, you just need to have a self introspection all the time about how you can do better. You know, remove all that ugliness and all that bitterness, you know, everything that's clustering your mind, detox from it. And I think that's what helped me. You know, I just used to sit down alone and be like, okay, this week we're gonna deal with one, two, three. This week we're gonna stop doing this because this is not helping me, you know, and just to sit down with yourself and detox all of that ugliness that you have been keeping inside. Whether it's expressing that to your friends, whether it's writing it down, whether it's journaling, it just has to be released.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my next step is forgive yourself and not to be so hard on yourself. Um,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah, I know. You know what? Especially
Yeah.
on heartbreaks and everything, they always say, forgive your partner, forgive that person who did that to you, but they never ever touch on forgiving yourself. And I'm not speaking in the terms of if I'm not speaking if you're in the terms of if you were the cheater, if you were the person who hurt the other person. I'm saying even if you didn't end the relationship, even if you did nothing to the person, you need to forgive yourself. And that's what I didn't do at first. And I started doing that because I had to forgive myself for not standing up as much as I should have, for not expressing as much, for not for you know what, for even changing the red flags into green. I had to forgive myself for that because I could see certain things. But I think at that
Yeah.
time, you know, you were just like, nah, I really don't want to believe that's actually happening. So I'm gonna change. You know, you need to forgive yourself for allowing things that you didn't deserve to actually happen to you. You know what I mean? And and
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was so important for me to do because I knew what I deserved. I knew what I brought into the relationship and what I didn't, you know. And I had to sit down and forgive myself and say, girl, you are not doing that again. In your next relationship, if you see that red flag, you better
Yeah.
communicate it properly and honestly and respectfully and say, listen, this is how I'm feeling, one, two, three. And then we
Mm-hmm.
move on from that. And
So,
not
so were you saying that you weren't actually saying what you was? Were you not saying what you were feeling to him?
I definitely was. There was a lot of communication, but okay, so let me tell you one of the red flags. So, what I mean by sometimes I would see a red flag and then it was like, Rudo, that's green, was like small example is that back then there was a time where they were stealing girls and, you know, there was a lot of violence in South Africa and we used to share locations.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this one day and I was like, okay, let me check if he's safe because you know there wasn't any communication if I'm home safe or things like that. And I
Mm-hmm.
went on my little tracking, you know, we had a tracking device and it was off. And I asked him, I say, hey, is everything okay? Like, trying to get a hold of you, but your phone is off and I can't see your location tag. And then he was like, ah nah. And he just made an excuse of nah, it's off or something like that. But mentally, my instinct, I knew it and I felt it that you know what, this is turned off because we set this for like 2 years
Mm-hmm.
that we would be able to see where we are. And then
So, so that should have been a red flag for you, right?
it
Because
was definitely a red.
your gut, your old being, your intuition kicked in
Yes,
and saying, okay, this is
yes,
not working out right now.
yes. And that's why I say that I had to forgive myself for even ignoring my own instinct, for knowing
Mm-hmm.
better, but choosing not to act on what I know and what I feel. And I
Okay.
think that came with the fear of not wanting to fight or not wanting to make a big deal out of something, you know? I think that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I can share, that I can relate with everybody, that sometimes when you're in a relationship, you don't want to, you don't want to do certain things because you don't want to fight. You know, you
You
don't
want
want
to
to.
keep the peace, honey. You want to keep the
Exactly. You
peace.
want to
That's
keep
what
the
it
peace.
is,
You
right?
don't want to be petty. You don't want to be that girlfriend. I think, especially with girls at my age, we don't want to be called controlling and oh he's so clingy, you know, things like that. So there were a lot of red flags that I definitely even made excuses for him for. You know, I was like, it's okay.
We all do that. We all
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
It's not a generation how can I say, it's not a generation type of
Mhm.
persona. It's more of all women do that. You
Yeah.
tend to see the flags, you tend to ignore it, and
You're
you
like,
think the better of him and give him the
hey,
benefit
you
of the
don't want
doubt,
to
should I say?
exactly. You don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also not being so hard on myself. I remember very early in our relationship, I wanted everything to be fine. I knew about the cheating. I knew that we broke up, but I was rushing into just being fine. Like I said early in this conversation, that I don't know how to deal with anger. I don't know how to deal with hurt. I think well now I'm better because I've been through it, but I didn't know how to deal with the heartbreak, you know. So I
Mm.
wanted things to be quick and fast and everything must be fine. Like, you know what, fine, we broke up. It's okay, let's move on. And I was so
Yeah.
hard on myself for pushing myself to forgive him quicker, for pushing myself to be fine quicker, you know. And I
Mm.
put much pressure on myself, and that's one thing that we should not do. We should feel everything so that when we're actually okay, we don't have to go back and say, oh, but I didn't deal with that. You know, I didn't do this.
Mm.
And that was also one of the bad things that I had to overcome, and just, you know, take things one day at a time and say, okay, I'm not gonna be that hard on myself anymore. And I'm gonna take things just as they come. And since it's my journey, nobody can
Mm.
tell me. Well, obviously my loved ones and everybody can say, Rudo, don't do this, Rudo, don't do that. But at the end of the day, I knew that my actions, I would have to deal with the consequences that come with my actions. You
Okay.
know, so yeah, so don't be so hard on yourself. Um, the third one is deal with the broken glass. Deal with
Deal
it,
with the.
with the broken glass.
Okay.
And when I say broken glass, this can be broken trust, it can be the broken friendship in the relationship, it can be the broken love, the broken respect. Um, I think we all know when a glass breaks, it breaks in
Mm-hmm.
so many different pieces. There's a big piece, there's a small piece, and then there's a
Mm.
very tiny, tiny pieces. And the tiny pieces really represent the things that really, really mattered the most to you in the relationship. In my story, the thing that mattered the most was our friendship. We were friends way before the relationship. We were really, really good friends, and it turned into um, being best friends. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that was my very hurtful, tiny, tiny piece that I couldn't pick up for the longest time, because it was very important to me, you know. And when I say deal with the broken pieces, it's not only for you, but it's also for the people who walk into your life. So when a glass breaks, it's very easy to pick up the big pieces. You can even pick that up with your hand, you know. It's very like it's simple, but with
Yep.
the small pieces and the tiny pieces, you can't use the same method that you use to pick up the big pieces. It's
Yeah.
not gonna work. And if you try it, it's going to hurt your hand. That's what it's gonna do. And that's why it's so important to deal with these tiny, tiny pieces, this tiny, tiny hurts. And I think I picked up a lot of big pieces really quickly. Really quickly. I picked myself up. I was like, I'm Rudo. I'm not gonna deal with one, two, three, but I took forever. And I'm still in this process of picking up the tiny pieces because it's not easy, right?
Okay.
And I think I think when you're in a heartbreak, you think that you can use the same method for everything, but you really can't, because they're all different situations. You know, just like in the area of your relationship, it's all
Mm-hmm.
different, all different.
So here's a question to you, right? So picking up the big pieces is easy to do so, right? Because you can pick it up with your hand and you can throw it away.
Yeah, real
Easy,
quick,
quick, easy, quick, and dirty.
quick.
Okay. How are you dealing with those small little pieces right now? So you're saying that you're still going through it.
Yeah.
How are you doing it right now?
I'm doing it through being selfish with my time, with my energy, with my space. I'm doing
Okay.
it with the things that I do in my personal time, like reading a book. I bought this one book called What a Time to Be Alone. So the things that I'm consuming. And it's really helping, guys. Oh my god. I think I even have it here. I'm just gonna show you guys.
You can show it, yeah.
If anybody's interested, it's called What a Time to Be Alone.
Okay.
Very, very good book if you're actually going through something. If you're not, it's like but it's a good book. It's a good read. So what the things that I'm reading, the people that I'm letting into my space, that's
Mhm.
how I'm dealing with the small pieces. So, okay, I'm gonna be very honest. One of my small pieces is trust,
Hmm.
and it's it's not easy now. Now I'm having a bit of difficulty, trusting people,
Mhm.
and how I'm dealing with that is by allowing certain people in my space and building the trust from there so that I can, when somebody else comes into my life, I'm able to, kind of assess the situation, assess, and then trust. Because trust doesn't just, oh, I trust you, it's something that's earned, it's something that's learned. So I think that's another
Yes.
way that I'm dealing with these tiny, tiny pieces. Everything that's happening in my life, I
Mhm.
am I am on the journey of fixing these tiny, tiny broken pieces.
Okay.
That's how I'm doing it. But we all different.
So we always have a certain level of trust with people when we meet
Mm,
someone. Like how
mm,
you and I met, right? We
yeah,
have a certain level of trust. But when trust is broken, it's hard to come back to that. But
yeah,
however, it is how we deal with it and it's how we move. Trust is earned, it's not
yeah,
given. There's a
yeah.
certain level of trust one has in someone. Okay, it's a very light, if I could call it. And
Mm,
as your relationship grows, whether it's friendship, whether it's
relate.
co-workers at work, whether it's relationships, whether it's husbands, whatever it may be, boyfriends, girlfriends, and
Yeah.
as it matures, your trust becomes stronger and stronger and the bond becomes stronger and stronger. But when you give the person a reason not to trust you anymore, it's very,
Oh,
very difficult. But to
huge.
also acknowledge that, trust is earned, it's not something that's given,
Trust is
even
earned.
in children, even in
Yes,
children it's
and I think it's because trust is something that grows. I think when it's broken, it's very difficult to get back because
it
because
is.
it's something you earn, you know.
Mm, mm.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing to try deal with these small pieces. And
That's
another thing,
amazing.
thank
Mm,
you. And another thing is like it's so important to deal with the broken glass because if you let somebody into your house, and when I say
mm.
house, I'm saying your life,
Yeah.
and they see the broken glass. There's only two outcomes. It's either they see the broken glass and they say, you know what, I'm gonna help you clean up this broken glass. I'm gonna help you clean up these little pieces. And
Yeah.
then the other side, you can find people who say, you know what, I can see this broken glass, I can see these broken pieces, and I'm not up for helping you. I'm not up for trying to, weather the storm with you on this broken glass,
Yeah,
and
pick up the pieces. Yeah.
yeah, you might be missing out on a good friendship, on a good relationship. And that's why I say it's so important to deal with the broken glass.
Okay.
And
Before you move on to the next one, which is you've got two more to go through, a friend of yours, Luyanda, I maybe mispronounced that name. She says it's your friend. She has a question for you. What would you say has positively contributed to your healing process?
oh my gosh. Hi girl. What has positively contributed? I think my support system. I think my friends, you're one of them. My friends definitely helped me. I think also the things that I'm doing for myself and
Mhm.
pushing myself to do has really, really helped. And also not dwelling on the past has really helped me to become positive and to be very excited about the future.
Okay.
That's a lot of things. And also believing in the higher power, believing that if something is meant for me, it will not miss me. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
something is meant for
Yeah.
me, it I'm gonna have it no matter what. Things.
Mm,
God is in this to help me, and my support system is there to help me. My friends are there to help me. So everything good that's happening, I'm so grateful for it, and that's what keeps me going. You know, I could
mm.
yeah, I could say that. I could say that. Yeah.
Yeah, support systems are very important. You know, we underestimate the people that we have around us that can get us through the most toughest times
Yes.
that we face, or the toughest times that we challenged, that we are
Yes.
challenged.
Yes.
And support systems are a send of God. You know, it's like something that you can't do without. Um, it is, when you stand together and you go through the hurt and the pain together,
Yes.
it is makes a very big difference, definitely, for sure.
A
Great
big
question.
difference. Yay. Thank you. Thanks, Lou. And then also with not dealing with the broken glass is that people can walk into your house, walk into your life, and they might not even see the broken glass. And the bad thing is that if they step on it, it's going to hurt them. And
Mm,
they will blame you for the hurts. They will blame you for not telling them that the broken glass is there. And they will walk away with broken glass. And that broken glass will then be left wherever they land, and it's just another cycle of not dealing with the broken glass. And that's why I say it's so important, because I didn't want to deal with certain things. I didn't want to accept certain things until I just realized that, you know what? If I ever want to be happy with somebody and not carry baggage and bring it over to the next relationship, I have to deal with broken glass. I have to deal with the broken glass and the broken pieces and pick them up as I
mhm,
go on my life journey. And that's another reason why I came to this point of gotta deal with it, you know.
mm.
Just gotta deal with it. Yeah.
So, is it Lou you said, right?
Leander, yeah.
Yeah. So Lou says that is true. The presence and support of people who genuinely care about you is priceless. And I totally agree. You'll in things of like this, you'll have people that come into your life, and this is where you find your true friends, and this is where you find people that will leave you. So
Yes.
it does
Yes.
it does separate your friends. Oh,
Yes.
oh, so-called friends.
Yes, and Sash, let me tell you, I think when you're going through a heartbreak or something that nobody else has experienced, you really get to see who your real ones are.
Yeah.
Because especially in that time, you're not completely yourself,
Yeah.
and you don't, and for the people who stick out and know that, okay, Ruda's going through this and she's not herself right now, but we have to be there for her because she's not okay. That's when I got to
Absolutely.
see the people who were for me,
Mm,
and they
mm,
weren't there for just the good times. Those were the ride or dies. Let's go
mm,
with it, friend. If you need wine, let's get wine. If you need to
mm,
go bounce and go to Gold Reef, let's go. People who are for you and people who are for your healing.
mm.
That's one thing that I really got to see through my heartbreak, is that there are people who were only there for the good times, and there were people who are still with me because they are true friends to me.
Yep.
You- And that's one
Yep.
thing about going through such thing like a heartbreak. It's if they don't get it, if they're not there with you, then you know what? What other life situation will I be able to go through, and these people are not there for me?
Absolutely.
And that goes back to my first point of detoxing. I had to cut off a lot of people who I felt like they weren't feeding goodness in me, and I wasn't feeding goodness in them. And it all ties back there. And one
Okay.
thing about my story and my relationship is that because we were from high school, we had so many mutual friends, and then we also had friends that I met through him that I had to cut off because I couldn't trust them the same. And also, I knew where the loyalty lied. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to ask you to take sides. This is not even about taking sides. There's no
Mm,
there's no bad blood. There's no hate. But at the end of the day, I am detoxing away from you because our energies and our friendship and our trust and respect don't align. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's just so important to just know where you stand in somebody's life and not be offended when you don't stand at a place where you want to stand. You know?
True. True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So my other point is silence can be your power.
Hmm.
Silence can
Silence can
be your
be your power.
yes. Yes.
Okay.
So let me explain, right? When I say silence can be your power, what happened in my whole process of my heartbreak was, like in this book, right? This book that I was reading, there's a part on
Mm-hmm.
silence, and it says silence can never be misquoted. And it spoke to me loudly because in my heartbreak, because you're hurt, right? And because you're angry, you're bitter inside, the things you say are not necessarily who you are. They're not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily what you really mean. And at that time, I remember one instant where I tweeted something about my ex, and it was all because I was hurt and in a very bad space. And till this day, people can quote me on what I said, but they would never know that it was all based on hurt. And that's why I say sometimes silence can be your power because it can never be misquoted.
Okay.
You know, silence does not mean do not express yourself. And what I mean is express yourself to the right people, to the people that you trust. Let it all out. Otherwise, if you don't, you're gonna be you're gonna burst. One day it's just gonna be too full, and you're just gonna burst, and it's not gonna be good. But what I mean when I say sometimes keeping quiet is is your power, because silence is a reaction. you know yes, silence can be misinterpreted. People can be like, ooh, she's keeping quiet because maybe it's true, or ooh, she's keeping quiet because people will assume the worst or the best of you, but they can never say that this came out from her mouth if you're quiet you know and also being silent is a way of kind of not saying that you become the bigger person, but if things are being attacked at you, silence is a way of knowing where your energy should go, you know, kind of
I
being,
think you absolutely spot on that. I think it's got to do, silence has a place for,
yeah,
to your point, you don't have to react to everything.
yeah,
And when you react to something must be of value to yourself. And
exactly,
sometimes being silent is a way to put boundaries between yourself and that person or whatever situation it may be. It will
yeah,
also help you to, being silent gives you the upper in the sense of it's my energy, it's my space,
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
something that I want to react to,
yeah.
and silence does have its own power for the right
Yeah.
space and time.
For the right space and time, absolutely. You know, you don't have, like you said, you don't have to react to everything. And also, when you're hurt and you're going through a heartbreak, the way you react is it can sometimes really give a wrong impression of yourself, you know, because you're hurt, because you're bitter, you're going to seem like a very angry person, and you're not, And I think there was a time when I definitely did seem like a very bitter person, very petty person, and that's because I reacted to things that I really didn't have to react to, and that's why nowadays I'm just like, oh, did that happen? Okay, cool. And you just move because it doesn't grow me personally. Sometimes after you react, you're just like, okay, what's next? you know and you ask
Yeah,
yourself,
so
was that really worth it?
yeah. So I mean, the fact that you can do that now and not react is quite a skill to have learned, that I can
Yeah,
tell you.
yeah, yeah,
Giving people your power is not something that, reaction is not something that's needed on any situation.
yay.
Um, my neighbor decided to play some music. I'm not too sure if you can hear the music.
This saw your mute button go on and off. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So my neighbor decided to play some music outside, it seems like, and
No,
he's
I
having
can't
a
hear
good
it at
old,
all.
hey?
I can't hear it at all.
Okay, okay. Just in case he's going loud and he's going down and stuff,
No,
so
no
please
problem.
excuse that. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Um, and my fifth one. is can be debatable, but I would say separate the person from the situation. And that's another thing that helped me because when I separated my ex to the cheating and the lying and everything, I was able to, what can I say? How can I put this? So when I separated the two, all my hurts and anger and everything wasn't forcefully going to him. You know, I didn't spend a lot of time showing him that, oh, I'm upset, you know, I hate you, or I want to show you, um I want to show you just how much you hurt me. I want to change your reputation. All of that stopped because I could separate him from the situation. Yes, he is the one who did the cheating. Yes, he is the one who actually made the situation to come to life. But when I was able to separate the two, I kind of zoned into the fact, okay, this happened for us to break up. And I was able to really focus on that situation of how did we get there? How could I do that? How can I make the situation better next time? And I'm not saying that I even blame myself for his actions. What I'm saying is that um, next time when I'm in a relationship, what I would maybe, you know, want to communicate if I see that things are getting a bit shaky, if I'm seeing the red flags, all of that, I'm able to kind of dissect everything and look further into the situation, you know, kind of break down everything and learn from the situation. Because when the hate is, you know, targeted at the person, you don't learn anything. You know, you don't get to deal with the situation properly, and you end up being so cold and so bitter towards the person, and you want to show them the hate and being upset, you know. I
Can I
see.
maybe phrase it? Can I maybe phrase it into a different way for you? Can I
Yeah.
maybe say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
it could be more of what was my contributing factors to this relationship that led it to be where it is, right?
Mm,
Because we tend to look at, like what you just said, separate the situation, right?
yeah.
So acknowledging your own mistakes in the relationship is
Yes.
also a step in, I
Mm,
mean, you call it a 5 step. And I
mm,
don't know, separating the person from the situation could be something, you know, what I'm saying is that we all have a role to play in relationships. Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
From what I understand is there's reasons why people cheat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's in general. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a role that we have played as well in this relationship. So have you looked at yourself
Yes.
and have you identified what was the contributing, because that's part of learning, because
Yes.
you yourself wouldn't want to go back into another relationship
And do the
and
same
obviously
thing.
and some of the same things, you know, you're repeating, because
Mm.
it's really not only about what he's done. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Because yes, he's cheated, yes, and you've gotten to the steps. It's
Mm.
also about the contributing factor of what you've done in the relationship and
Yes.
what would you do differently,
Yes.
because you have played a role in the relationship, and for whatever reason he cheated, right?
Yeah.
But you also have to look at yourself as well. Hi, Janine joined. Thanks for watching.
For real, for real. And I think what you said for me falls back into the detox phase when I said you should always have a self introspection and really
Mm-hmm.
understand the weaknesses and your strengths in the relationship and in the situation. With this one, it's more taking the person, again, it's taking the person away from the situation and kind of
Mm-hmm.
saying, hey, this is the person that I know, and it resulted in, and the situation is cheating, right? So I think when I say separated, it's all about learning about the cheating, learning about why these things happened, not per se to look into yourself, because that's like the detox phase. but also understanding why did this cheating happen, and also why it's so important to also separate the two is that one thing that I think is so important to say is that whether you're in a friendship or a relationship, we're all individuals. We all have our different life problems. We all have our different journeys. And I think I couldn't understand exactly, what was the reason, you know,
Mm.
what was the reason of the cheating. And I think because he's an individual and it was
Yes.
his actions, I had to understand that the two should be separated for me to really channel into the reasons and why this happened.
Okay.
You know,
So I have a question for you.
yes,
Can you say you were your authentic self with him or in the relationship?
absolutely, absolutely,
You were
100,
your authentic self. Okay.
absolutely, 100%.
So you
I was,
communicated. So you communicated how you felt.
yes,
You weren't someone else when you were friends. You were your true self in front of him. You
yes,
spoke your mind. You stood up to him when you felt that he wasn't respecting you. You told
yes,
him that this is how you felt. You were kind enough to highlight the mistakes that he were making. He respected
so,
the thing. So that's what I mean. Were you your true authentic self in the relationship, or were you not, in the sense that you couldn't communicate what you felt? You didn't feel that you could. You hid your true self away from him. You weren't really feeling, you couldn't be passionate about your goals, your beliefs. He didn't support because it's different, and hence why there's a reason why I asked you this now, right?
yeah, yeah,
People, and one of the things with open mic is that I find that women in particular are not their
Moving
authentic
on.
self with their partners. They hide a lot. They
Yeah.
hide who they are. They don't speak up. They don't
Mm,
communicate. They think they do. And I can see you got a light bulb moment in you just now, right? Because I can see what's,
hey, a big
yeah,
one.
right? Because, and there's a reason why I'm saying this to you, right?
Hmm.
If you had the support and he was 100% behind you within your dreams, within your goals, within what you wanted to accomplish as Rudo, if you felt that you could express yourself to him no matter what the situation was,
Yeah.
if you would say, hey, I think that this is wrong what you're doing, or you shouldn't be going out with your friends, or guess
Oh,
what, I want to yeah, you see what I'm saying now, because you immediately said you were, now you're saying something totally different, because
yes,
guess
yes,
what, Rudo, guess
yes.
what, we are not our authentic selves with the partners. We doubt ourselves. We doubt ourselves. We don't give ourselves the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And we also don't acknowledge. And hence why I said, this is why I led up to this question. And this is why I asked you the question prior to that.
yeah,
Right? And the question prior to that led to this question here, specifically for you.
yes.
Because now you're thinking twice.
Yes,
Now, so
yes.
so now I'm asking you again: was Rudo her authentic self in the relationship?
So let me be very honest because that's what our platform is all about. Transparency. Um, I want to say yes. And I say yes because there was no pretense. I never felt that I should hide away things. I always told him about my dreams. I was always open. I was always transparent in the relationship. But I do have to be honest that the last couple of months before we actually ended off things, I wasn't authentic because it was just very rocky. I didn't feel like I should even say certain things because I felt like maybe I would be too selfish, maybe to acknowledge that he's going through a hard time, or I kind of put him first. And I think when I did that, I wasn't as authentic. I didn't say everything that I wanted to say. I didn't do everything I wanted to do. And I can honestly, definitely say closer to the end of our relationship, no, I wasn't being authentic, and I didn't communicate everything that I wanted and that I should have. And that was
Mm.
because I think he was so tired of hiding the cheating that he also, because he changed, I felt like, I can't be the same way that I was. I can't be as authentic as I was because now that he's changed, I'm trying to be very supportive and try to make everything about him and try to help him in his situation, that it just wasn't the same. So no, 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 no,
And
no.
and that change that you picked up on, that there should have been your trigger. That
Yeah,
there should have been the thing that
yeah,
helped you to be your authentic self. Because if there's anything that was kicking in at that time that was giving you that red flag, that's when you know your true authentic self should have came out.
yes, yes,
Okay, because when you second
absolutely.
guess your because when you second guess yourself, and when you think, and when you start putting someone else's needs and wants and feelings and
Before
beliefs
yours,
first, that's when you should have that trigger.
yes. And
Okay,
that's what I know
because
now.
that,
you
yeah,
know and that's one thing that I learned now, that it's so dangerous to put somebody's needs before yours,
yeah,
because you believe that, oh, we've been together for so long, there's nothing wrong that he could do, he would never leave me, all of these things, they run
yeah,
through your head. And because you want to share great things that are coming, because I mean, closer to the end of our relationship, I was finishing my research thesis. I was gonna start a permanent job, and not to say things were bad on his side, but there were certain things that he wanted to fix, and I felt like, I can't go into depth with everything because I'm sharing all good things. Now I'm gonna come and receive the energy that I don't want.
mm, mm.
So it was tricky, but I have to honestly say I didn't want to admit it to myself that he is kind of changing. That these red flags are now flashing. They're not just showing red flags. Now these red flags are flashing, and they're saying, Rudo, focus. You can see what's happening. You can see what's happening. So no, Sesh, you know what? To be
Yeah.
very honest, closer to the end, I was not my authentic self. Very honestly, I really wasn't. But most of our relationship, I really was. I really, really
Yeah,
was very transparent.
I think people hide their true self because they don't want to hurt the other person.
Exactly.
It's coming
Exactly.
from a good space, it is, but it's not to say it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, you always have the best intentions of giving yourself to someone. Okay.
Mm.
But it's
Mm.
not to say that you're doing it any good. And I'm gonna say this,
Exactly.
it's also with kids. It's also with kids. As a mother, and I speak as a mother,
Yeah.
your kids, we have the saying that your kids should come first because they
Yeah.
mean the world. Yeah, they do
Oh.
mean the world to me. They do. They are they're my pride, they're my joy. I
Yeah.
love them to bits. They are my kids, but they
Yeah.
don't come first because I do.
Yes.
Right? See, and that's the difference. Even with the kids, whether it doesn't matter what relationship it is, whether it's with the kids, whether it's with friends, whether it's with the husband, whether it's with your girlfriend, your
Everything.
boyfriend, your
Everything.
spouse, it doesn't matter. Okay,
Yeah.
if you cannot put yourself first, and if you cannot be true to yourself, you're gonna get lost.
Yes.
You're gonna
And
get
you know what?
lost, and you're not gonna be able to. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And those were one of my broken glasses because I was like, whoa, where's Rudo? What happened? You know, because you lose yourself. If you're used to being in a relationship, like I'm very new to this whole single thing and single life because he was always there. I mean, after all these years, and and specific times in the year where you have to kind of like, whoa, put this person first. Yes, you get to lose yourself a bit, and you get to stumble across a little obstacles and have to deal with things alone, and you feel like there's a lot on your shoulders because now you're not carrying your own problems, you're carrying another person's problems. And it can sometimes drag you down. And that's why with these steps that I've shared, I feel like it's so important to not make somebody else's mistakes your downfall, you know. And I just had an awakening one day, and I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm I know I can do so much better in my life. I know that I have so many goals, and I know that I actually need to be more selfish with myself. And being an empath and being somebody who just wants to be good to everybody, I've had to learn the importance of putting myself first.
Yeah, that's a good lesson to learn. As an empath, it's a good lesson to learn, right? To put yourself first.
Not easy.
It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of strength.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of strength, a lot of willpower. It certainly does, but sure. Rudo, I want to say thank you so much, so much for, sharing this experience that you've been through, the steps that has got you through this whole thing. I wish you well, and I'm sure whoever's gonna walk through the path that you're painting the town red right now. I'm sure whoever you're gonna meet is gonna be absolutely and I think it's gonna be good. So I have some stuff that's coming through right now. Before we wrap up, we have Amina regarding what you said about coming before your children, your well-being. If you're not functioning with clarity, then your growth with your children may be compromised. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
That is a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, sometimes, your well-being, if you're not functioning, your clarity, and I agree with you, Amina, then your growth with your children may be compromised. I agree 100%. And that is why we do need to take care of ourselves, We do need to take care of ourselves so that our kids can feel that energy. Our kids, will be able to move forward. Simbongele says, good luck with your journey of healing. I hope you rediscover yourself, your dreams, and your passion.
I'm on it, girl. I'm on it.
And she also says, remember, no one can ever give you your identity, so don't ever ask permission to be yourself. Love yourself first, and you'll be able to love others. Absolutely, totally agree. And Lou says, peace, light, and love, queen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, girls. I so appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, spending the time. Thank you so much, Rudo. We have Jason that's going to be coming on in the next few minutes. And looking forward to what's happening next month. I mean, we have a new theme that's coming through next month for the month of July. And I should just say, I mean, July is the month of transformation. So we're looking for speakers to come onto open mic and talk about transformation and the change that has happened in one's life, whether it's their business, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a woman of change that has transformed you spiritually, whether it has enlightened you, whether the divine light has come over you and you found a different path. Please come through open mic and share the stories. Lou says she loves you a lot. Thanks, Lou. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Rudo. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye, guys. Take care.
Yes.